Good morning here at the Edinburgh Fringe. The sun has definitely got her hat on this morning. It's definitely coming out to play. It's a glorious morning on my morning walk to the centre of Edinburgh on the 10th of August. So the Fringe is well and truly underway. In some ways it doesn't feel like it's still in full swing. Could be that Oasis are still in the city. The city certainly felt very alive yesterday. Whether that's caused by Oasis, I don't know. But what I'm of course noticing is the posters now are adorned with star ratings and review quotes and so on. And it can be really tough if you think I'm the only show in the city that doesn't have a review. And that's probably not true. Sometimes they're slow in coming, but pretty much everybody at the end of the Fringe has got a review from somebody. And so, just to be clear, there are ethics. There are probably not really laws up at the Edinburgh Fringe. It's a bit of a maelstrom. And so your ethics may well be that you're somebody who's not going to put fake stars on posters, though some do, particularly where they're financially desperate. The same behaviours happen up here as happen elsewhere, but I don't think it's hugely prevalent. But in terms of the question of what do you do if you've had reviews, and if you have some stars to put up, it's just a replay, particularly for new people at the Fringe. As you staple those onto your flyers, as you stick them onto your posters, make them prominent. I'm seeing posters where those ratings are just too small. And so make sure those stars, if you've got them, are pretty big and can be seen from somebody walking not right up against your poster but a few feet away. The general view, I would say, is to be clear, don't make it look like a mobile phone contract where the source of the review is so tiny you can't really read it, and people play that game too, and I'd suggest that's an ethical one. But put the stars most prominently and then the publication still readable below, whether that's a newspaper or a website or a quote from TikTok. Just make the source clear. I think that respects your potential audience. And I would also say that the posters I'm seeing that are just putting stars, literally, in just the publication is not helpful. And I think it weakens the impact of those stars compared to fairly prominent stars and then a pull quote, as they're called. That's not a quote from me, P-A-U-L, it's P-U-L-L, pull quote, can be taken from your review. I would say on a poster, it's better to be a few words, just because people are walking by, they may stop and see it, but you don't want them squinting. And so a pull quote is an accurate quote, the best you can find on your review, enchanting and enthralling. I've never seen anything like this. You'll laugh till your sides split, whatever it is. Better not a cliche. If you can get something that's really specific, it's even better. Using words that are quite eloquent and a bit different, but not bamboozling. But cutting edge writing is probably better than amazing, for example. We were laughing till the very end, and even on the way out is probably better than just extremely funny. But you make that decision. And I would experiment and just see if tickets go up when you put one particular phrase on. You might try it differently on different posters or flyers and be experimental. And then when you give those reviews on posters, well, particularly on flyers out, you might also have a little bit of banter as you flyer, just drawing attention to that review quote, and that can freshen up your own flyering as well. Now, what to put up is really important. So it seems to be, and it's been for quite a few years up at the Edinburgh Fringe, that it's only 4 or 5 stars that are put on posters. I rarely see 3 stars. But what the game seems to be, and I think it's still okay, is even on a 2-star review or a 3-star review, reviewers who are fair-minded will put positive quotes. They'll say what's good about a show. And so even if you're not putting the stars on the posters, you can put the quote. And if you've got the idea that this is bold and exciting, and that might be on a 2-star review of a show that didn't work in other ways, bold and exciting as a quote, some startling physical theatre, on a 2 or 3 star review, you just have the quote very prominent, probably as prominent as you would have put the stars or even bigger, so it can be read from a distance, and then the publication. So that's, I guess, for newbies. People that have been in before know how to play that game, but getting that stuff up as fast as possible essentially creates a current feel that this is the latest news on your show, that someone was in to see it just a few days ago and you've got the freshest opinion possible from a reviewer, for example. Now, what do you do if you've got absolutely no reviews at the moment? And I think the next step, and this might surprise some of you, is to look at the quotes you've got from recent reviews of your show, say just before the Fringe. I don't think you can go back too far, but in a way you can, and I'm going to suggest that in a moment. And so also you can do this particularly on your social media. But if you came up from Brighton, which is my home city, and played a show in July as a warm-up show, some of you have come up from Camden Fringe, for example, and if you've got reviews from there, I think ethically it becomes really important, if you can, to put even the date on it. But certainly you can put onto, this might surprise you, onto flyers, enthralling and exciting work. Another triumph from this exciting new theatre company, extremely well written, whatever the positive quote is, and even the star rating, not from the Edinburgh Fringe, but from recently. And I think just ethically there, you might say the star rating, the quote, the publication, and the date. It might just say July 2025. I think you can also say a star rating, but make it really clear that it's from your previous show, for previous work. And I think it's okay, because audiences want to decide what to see, and they'll be aware sometimes reviewers don't come in. But if you've got a review from Time Out magazine, or your local newspaper, as long as you say Brighton Evening Argus, 25th of June 2025, that's informative and it's not lying, and it's just probably part of the idea of we're still waiting on reviews. So I wouldn't be downhearted if you've not had any reviews from the Edinburgh Fringe, but you've got reviews from before. And I think there's an even further step you can go, which is, and something you can do right now, is if there's a well-established theatre director you bumped into, somebody with a little bit of kudos, a bit of provenance, is to have a direct quote from them. It can be from the author of a particular relevant book, and that allows you to have at least some quotes on your posters. Now, some people don't do that, and there seems to have evolved this idea that you can only put quotes up from stuff at the Edinburgh Fringe, and I think it's absolutely nonsense. But I think the ethics have to kick in. Excuse me if you can't see me very well here, it's because the sun is shining beautifully. The ethics kick in if you just put a quote, and in the tiniest letters possible, Brighton Evening Argus at the Edinburgh Fringe, as if you don't really want people to see what the quote is, the quote source is, as if that's trying to fool them into the idea that you've just recently had a review. Reviews for your work happen over the whole year, and all audiences want to do is decide what to see. And so I don't think there's any difference between a review on Fringe Review yesterday and a review from Fringe Review a couple of months ago. If the show hasn't changed, if the show that people might go and see is substantially the same as the one that was seen and reviewed a couple of months before. And as I say, you can absolutely, certainly on social media, have a star rating historically. Say this is what we got for this same show a couple of months ago at Brighton Fringe. Just be transparent about it. Don't try and fool or deceive. Although some people try to do that, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you're sitting there thinking, we arrived just over a week ago and we don't have any reviews, that's the experience of a lot of people. But you may well have had reviews coming here, and they're absolutely okay to report those. And it's bizarre, because I'm seeing a lot of 6-foot posters that have got 20 lots of 5 stars on a poster, and 1 or 2 of those top comedians aren't really bothering with reviews, because you can see the stars from previous work and they're unlikely to be worse than those up here, so they just rely on those and still sell tickets. So I think I invite you to be broad and a bit expansive about what you put onto your posters. And then if a review comes in that's more recent, you can put that on and make it a bit larger, or replace the quotes that you've had from before. But the idea that there's some sort of hierarchy of quotes, I think is a bit nonsense. It's simply about telling people about your work and what people have thought about it. And that can certainly go back a few months. So get creative, get affirmative, don't be downhearted, and get the stars on those posters. But you know, look at what your whole what do I call it, horizon is. It's probably broader than you think, and there are certainly no rules hard and fast to say you can only put up star ratings and quotes from yesterday. Absolutely not.